Next, we have Beichen Gao. After working on antibody research and development in industry, Beichen returned to academia and is now doing PhD in immunology in ETH Zurich. He says that he's using sophisticated computational modeling techniques to improve the speed, precision, and the yield of modern antibody discovery technologies. Basically, he's trying to improve or even replace his old job with a computer. Will this happen or not? We will find out soon. What a beautiful world, the mountains and valleys of antibody engineering. Beichen Gao.
Okay, I guess everyone's been doing this. Mic check. Protein fitness landscapes. What is that, and how does it help us discover antibodies faster? Well, to put it simply, let's go on a hike. Because in protein engineering, when we're working on something like antibodies, for example, one thing we care about is their fitness, which basically just means how good they are at their function. And it's a landscape because we also have peaks and valleys, where some of the best antibodies are up at the top of the summits, and the worst are all the way down there. So when we start with an antibody, what we really want to do is make small changes and slowly start to hike up to the top. But this takes so long, and it's also difficult for 3 different reasons. One, you might have pictured, hiking the Matterhorn. But it's not like that. It's not just one peak. In fact, think of it more like the entire Oberalp region, where there are several peaks separated by valleys. Where do you go to get to the tallest one? Secondly, if anyone's, think to your last hike, it's not always clear the right way to go. Sometimes you get a little bit lost. And third, anytime we're looking for antibodies against a new target, a new disease, the landscape changes all over again. So how do we solve this? Wouldn't it be so much easier if we had a map? And that's what I'm trying to do. Just like how satellite maps can be built up through thousands of images, I'm trying to do the same with my experiments. By testing tens, hundreds of thousands of antibodies, we can really spread our coverage to see where all the little peaks and valleys are in the landscape. Not only that, with some fancy math, we can start to predict where the summits are and maybe how to get there. So, you see, even though in the end we still have to make that final hike up to the top, it's a lot easier now if we appreciate the landscape around us. And that way, we already have our goal in sight. We can see our way up there. And like all good hikes, once we're up at the top, it's going to be so worth it.
Thank you very much, Beichen. Questions? Noreen, please.
Would you describe those peaks and valleys? Like, is this in real life chemical reaction? Would it be conditions that you're looking for, or like design of antibodies?
So I think it's more like design, because antibodies, they have, they work by just recognizing really specific shapes. So when we make changes, there are some small changes that make it less effective or even more effective. So it's kind of like taking step by step up to that perfect shape or, the worst. It's like if you're trying to target a circle and you have a square.
Susan?
Yeah. If we would grant you, let's say, like $500,000 Swiss francs for future research, where would you invest it in?
That's such a good question. Is my PI watching this?
Yeah.
I should say that. I would actually say I would scale up in computing power, because really just being able to screen so many different antibodies to be able to have that prediction. Because we can still see the landscape, but now it's just what do we do with it and how do we interpret this? So.
Patricia?
Do you remember the moment when you chose your topic for your studies?
Yes, I do. So I was working in R&D before looking for actually antibodies. And the old way, when we didn't have the landscape, is you would have to pick and select basically clones of antibodies by hand. So there was one day when I picked 800 of them. It was very zen, very nice, but near the end, it was kind of this thought of there has to be a better way than just, okay, now I'm going to test the 800 and maybe they don't work, so I have to go back and test 800 more. That's, yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Beichen.
Thank you.